Sometimes the most dangerous warriors come disguised as the most vulnerable. In a world where appearances deceive and judgments are made in split seconds, one woman's greatest strength was hidden behind what others saw as her greatest weakness. They saw a disabled woman in a wheelchair and thought they had found an easy target. They had no idea they were about to encounter one of the most lethal operatives the Navy SEALs had ever produced. This is the story of how prejudice, assumptions, and cruelty collided with extraordinary skill, unbreakable determination, and a secret that would change everything. It's about a moment when ordinary criminals made the fatal mistake of underestimating someone whose entire life had been built on overcoming impossible odds. What happened next would prove that true strength isn't always visible, that heroes don't always look the part, and that sometimes the most powerful weapon is the element of surprise. This is a story about courage, deception, and the moment when justice arrived in the most unexpected form imaginable. Sarah Martinez had always been different from other children, but not in the way people would later assume. Growing up in a small military town in Texas, she was the daughter of a Marine Corps veteran who taught her that strength came from within, not from what others could see on the outside. Her father, Sergeant Major Robert Martinez, had lost his left leg in Afghanistan, but never let that define his capabilities. He raised Sarah with one simple rule: never let anyone tell you what you can't do. From the age of 5, Sarah was climbing trees, learning to shoot, and practicing martial arts in their backyard. Her father saw something special in her, a fierce determination that burned brighter than any physical limitation could dim. When Sarah was 7, a drunk driver changed everything. The accident left her with severe spinal injuries that doctors said would confine her to a wheelchair for life. But Robert Martinez didn't raise quitters. While other children her age were playing video games, Sarah was in physical therapy 6 hours a day. Her father converted their garage into a training facility, complete with specialized equipment that would help her build upper body strength that most professional athletes would envy. The wheelchair wasn't a limitation. It became her platform for greatness. She learned to navigate stairs, rough terrain, and obstacles that would challenge fully mobile individuals. By age 12, Sarah was competing in adaptive sports, but her real passion lay elsewhere. She had developed an obsession with military history, tactics, and special operations. She devoured books about the Navy SEALs, studying their training methods, their mindset, and their unwavering commitment to excellence. When her classmates were worried about homework, Sarah was teaching herself advanced combat strategies and memorizing military protocols. Her academic performance was exceptional. Sarah maintained a perfect GPA while simultaneously training her body and mind for something most people thought was impossible. Teachers and guidance counselors tried to steer her toward more realistic career paths, but Sarah had inherited her father's stubborn streak. She knew exactly what she wanted to do with her life, even if the entire world thought it was impossible. The first real test came during her junior year of high school. A group of military recruiters visited her school, and Sarah wheeled herself up to the Navy table with a confidence that surprised everyone present. The recruiters were polite but dismissive, explaining that the military had physical requirements that simply couldn't be waived. Sarah listened patiently, then asked if she could demonstrate something. What happened next became legendary in their small town. Sarah transferred from her wheelchair to the floor and proceeded to perform a perfect set of one-handed push-ups, followed by pull-ups on the nearby flagpole that left the recruiters speechless. She had trained her body to compensate for her legs in ways that defied conventional understanding of human limitations. Her upper body strength was phenomenal, her endurance was remarkable, and her mental toughness was evident in every movement. But the recruiters still said no. Military regulations were clear, they explained. Sarah thanked them politely and wheeled away, but she wasn't giving up. She spent the next year researching every possible avenue, every exception, every precedent that might open the door she desperately wanted to walk through. She discovered that certain specialized units had more flexibility in their recruitment, particularly when it came to individuals with unique skills or backgrounds. Sarah's breakthrough came through an unexpected source. A retired SEAL instructor named Commander James Walker was visiting the local VA hospital where Sarah volunteered. She had been working with injured veterans for 3 years, helping them adapt to life-changing injuries. Walker noticed something different about this young woman. She moved with purpose, spoke with authority about military tactics, and had earned the deep respect of battle-hardened veterans twice her age. When Walker learnt about Sarah's background and aspirations, he was intrigued. He had spent 30 years in special operations and had seen conventional wisdom proven wrong countless times. He agreed to evaluate Sarah's potential, but warned her that his assessment would be brutal and honest. Sarah accepted without hesitation. The unofficial evaluation took place over 3 days at a private facility. Walker put Sarah through modified versions of SEAL training exercises, testing not just her physical capabilities, but her mental resilience, problem-solving skills, and ability to function under extreme pressure. He created scenarios that would challenge her unique physical situation, while measuring her tactical thinking and leadership potential. Sarah exceeded every expectation. She completed obstacle courses that had been designed to stop her, solved complex tactical problems under severe time pressure, and demonstrated a level of mental toughness that impressed even the hardened veteran. Her approach to challenges was unlike anything Walker had seen. Where others might see limitations, Sarah saw opportunities to innovate and excel. The most remarkable demonstration came during a simulated combat scenario. Sarah had to navigate through a building, neutralize multiple targets, and extract a hostage while under simulated fire. She completed the mission faster than most of Walker's previous students, using her wheelchair as both a tactical advantage and a weapon when necessary. Her movements were fluid, precise, and devastatingly effective. Walker's report to his contacts in the Navy was unprecedented. He recommended Sarah Martinez for consideration in a specialized program that most people didn't even know existed. The Navy SEALs had been quietly developing units for unconventional operations, situations where traditional approaches might not be effective. Sarah's unique combination of skills, determination, and physical capabilities made her perfect for missions that required thinking outside conventional parameters. The formal recruitment process took 18 months. Sarah underwent extensive psychological evaluations, medical assessments, and security clearances that probed every aspect of her life. She continued her training throughout this period, knowing that if she received the opportunities she had dreamed of, she would need to be ready for challenges that would make her high school preparations look elementary. Her acceptance letter arrived on a Tuesday morning in March, just 3 weeks after her 19th birthday. Sarah Martinez was being invited to report to Naval Special Warfare Command for evaluation and potential inclusion in a classified program. The letter was brief, formal, and represented the culmination of everything she had worked toward since that accident 12 years earlier. Her father cried when she showed him the letter. Robert Martinez had always believed in his daughter's potential, but seeing it officially recognized by the organization they both revered was overwhelming. He had taught her that strength came from within, that limitations were often just starting points for innovation. Sarah was about to prove those lessons on the world's most challenging stage. The training that followed would test every aspect of her preparation. Physical challenges that had been designed for elite athletes would need to be adapted for a unique situation. Mental pressures that broke seasoned soldiers would be applied with relentless intensity. Sarah would need to prove that she belonged among the most elite warriors in the world, regardless of how she got there. But she was ready. 12 years of preparation, sacrifice, and unwavering determination had led to this moment. Sarah Martinez was about to begin a journey that would transform her from an exceptional young woman into something the world had never seen before, a Navy SEAL who would redefine what was possible and challenge every assumption about strength, capability, and heroism. The wheelchair that others saw as a symbol of limitation was about to become the foundation for greatness that no one could have imagined. The Naval Special Warfare Command facility in Coronado, California, was nothing like Sarah had imagined. The buildings were functional and austere, designed for purpose rather than comfort. As she wheeled through the main gate for the first time, she could feel the weight of history and tradition surrounding her. This was where legends were made, where ordinary individuals were forged into extraordinary warriors. Sarah's arrival caused immediate controversy within the command structure. Word had spread quickly through the tight-knit special operations community that someone in a wheelchair was being considered for SEAL training. The reactions ranged from curiosity to outright hostility. Many veteran operators believed that allowing someone with physical limitations to attempt SEAL qualification would compromise the program's integrity and potentially endanger team members in the field. Commander Patricia Hayes, the officer assigned to oversee Sarah's evaluation, was herself a groundbreaker. She had been one of the first women to serve in direct combat roles and understood the challenges of proving oneself in a skeptical environment. Hayes recognized that Sarah's presence represented more than just one individual's aspirations. It was a test of the military's ability to adapt and evolve while maintaining its standards of excellence. The initial medical evaluation was more thorough than anything Sarah had previously experienced. Teams of doctors, physiologists, and biomechanics experts studied her physical capabilities from every conceivable angle. They analyzed her muscle development, cardiovascular capacity, and neurological function with scientific precision. The results were remarkable. Sarah's upper body strength tested in the 98th percentile for all military personnel, regardless of gender or physical status. Her cardiovascular endurance was exceptional, and her reflexes were faster than most elite athletes. More importantly, the medical team discovered something unexpected about Sarah's spinal injury. While the original damage had indeed eliminated function in her lower extremities, her body had adapted in ways that actually provided certain tactical advantages. Her center of gravity was lower and more stable than that of standing individuals, making her less susceptible to being knocked off balance. Her enhanced upper body development gave her striking power that was devastating in close-quarters combat situations. The psychological evaluation was equally intensive. Sarah underwent days of testing designed to measure her stress tolerance, decision-making abilities, and capacity for violence when necessary. Military psychologists were particularly interested in understanding how her physical situation might affect her performance under combat conditions. They created scenarios designed to exploit potential vulnerabilities, testing whether she could maintain effectiveness when faced with situations specifically challenging to someone in her position. Sarah's responses consistently exceeded expectations. She demonstrated remarkable adaptability, finding solutions to tactical problems that impressed even experienced operators. Her approach to challenges was innovative without being reckless, creative without compromising mission effectiveness. The psychologists noted that her years of overcoming obstacles had developed mental resilience that was rare even among special operations personnel. The first phase of actual training began with a modified version of basic underwater demolition school. The instructors had spent weeks developing adaptations that would test Sarah's capabilities without compromising the program's standards. Swimming exercises were modified to focus on upper body propulsion, with Sarah achieving times that were competitive with traditional students. Her technique was unorthodox but devastatingly effective, using dolphin-like movements that generated surprising speed and endurance. The obstacle courses presented unique challenges. Traditional barriers designed for running and jumping had to be reimagined for someone approaching from a wheelchair. Sarah worked with engineering teams to develop adaptive techniques that maintained the spirit of the original challenges while acknowledging her different approach. What emerged was often superior to traditional methods. Her upper body strength allowed her to traverse obstacles that challenged even the strongest conventional students. Combat training revealed Sarah's true potential. Years of martial arts training, combined with her exceptional upper body development, made her a formidable opponent in close-quarters situations. She developed fighting techniques that used her wheelchair as both a defensive platform and an offensive weapon. Her striking power was devastating. Her defensive positioning was nearly impregnable, and her tactical thinking was sophisticated beyond her years. The weapons training phase showcased another area where Sarah excelled. Her steady positioning and exceptional upper body control made her one of the most accurate marksmen in her training class. She could maintain stable firing positions that standing shooters struggled to match, and her endurance in precision shooting scenarios was remarkable. Instructors noted that her accuracy scores consistently ranked in the top 10% of all students they had trained. But the real test came during Hell Week, the legendary phase of SEAL training that breaks the majority of candidates who attempt it. For Sarah, this meant 5.5 days of continuous training with minimal sleep, maximum physical stress, and relentless psychological pressure. The instructors had adapted the challenges to test her unique capabilities while maintaining the program's notorious difficulty. The first night involved a series of beach exercises in frigid water. While other students struggled with hypothermia affecting their entire bodies, Sarah's adapted physiology allowed her to maintain core temperature more effectively. Her teammates quickly learned to position themselves near her during water exercises, using her natural insulation as a tactical advantage for the entire group. Log-carrying exercises were modified to test Sarah's ability to work as part of a team while contributing her full share. She developed techniques for maneuvering heavy objects that actually made the entire team more efficient. Her low center of gravity and exceptional grip strength made her an anchor point that allowed the team to move faster and more safely than traditional methods permitted. The mental challenges of Hell Week were where Sarah truly distinguished herself. Sleep deprivation affected everyone, but her years of training had taught her mental discipline techniques that kept her functioning when others began to falter. She became a source of strength for her teammates, maintaining morale and focus during the darkest hours of the ordeal. By the third day, something remarkable was happening. The other students, initially skeptical of having someone different among them, began to recognize Sarah's exceptional contributions. Her tactical thinking remained sharp when others were struggling with exhaustion. Her physical capabilities, while different, were often superior to conventional approaches. Most importantly, her refusal to quit inspired others to push beyond their own perceived limitations. The final challenge of Hell Week involved a complex scenario combining multiple skills under extreme stress. Students had to navigate an obstacle course, complete a precision shooting exercise, solve tactical problems, and demonstrate medical skills while operating on minimal sleep and maximum adrenaline. Sarah's performance was flawless, completing every element faster and more accurately than the majority of her classmates. When Hell Week ended, 37 students remained from the original class of 92. Sarah Martinez was among them, and her instructors noted that she had never come close to quitting. While others had struggled with moments of doubt and despair, Sarah had maintained unwavering focus throughout the ordeal. Her performance had been so exceptional that several instructors privately admitted she was among the strongest candidates they had ever evaluated. The completion of Hell Week marked a turning point in Sarah's journey. She was no longer the questionable exception being tested for viability. She was a proven warrior who happened to use different methods to achieve superior results. Her classmates had evolved from skeptics to admirers to genuine teammates who trusted her capabilities implicitly. But the training was far from over. Advanced phases would test skills in underwater operations, parachuting, advanced weapons, tactics, and specialized warfare techniques. Each phase would require new adaptations, new innovations, and continued proof that excellence could be achieved through alternative methods. Sarah approached these challenges with the same determination that had carried her through every obstacle in her life. She was no longer trying to prove that someone in a wheelchair could become a SEAL. She was proving that she was among the best SEALs, regardless of how she got there. The wheelchair was no longer a limitation to overcome. It was a platform for greatness that gave her capabilities no traditional operator possessed. Graduation from basic underwater demolition school was just the beginning of Sarah's transformation into a complete special operations warrior. The advanced phases of SEAL training would test capabilities that went far beyond physical endurance and basic tactical skills. Sarah was about to enter a world where innovation, adaptability, and superior performance under impossible conditions separated the good from the legendary. The first advanced challenge came with underwater operations training. Traditional SEAL procedures assumed mobility that Sarah needed to approach differently. Working with dive specialists, she developed techniques that were not only effective but often superior to conventional methods. Her compact positioning allowed her to navigate tight underwater spaces that challenged larger operators. Her exceptional upper body strength provided endurance in underwater maneuvering that impressed even veteran dive masters. The pool exercises revealed unexpected advantages. Sarah's adapted body mechanics allowed her to achieve neutral buoyancy with minimal equipment, making her nearly invisible underwater. Her breathing techniques, developed through years of intensive physical therapy, gave her oxygen conservation capabilities that extended operational time significantly. During long-duration underwater exercises, she consistently outlasted teammates who had started with apparent physical advantages. But the real breakthrough came during combat diving scenarios. Sarah's ability to remain stable underwater while engaging targets was remarkable. Traditional divers struggled with maintaining accuracy while managing buoyancy and current, but Sarah's natural stability made her devastatingly effective in underwater combat situations. Her shooting scores underwater were consistently the highest in her training class, earning recognition from instructors who had trained thousands of SEALs. Parachute training presented another set of challenges that required creative solutions. Standard skydiving procedures assumed leg function for landing, but Sarah's team developed alternative techniques that were not only safe, but tactically superior in many situations. Her upper body strength allowed for landing approaches that provided better stealth and faster tactical positioning than traditional methods. Freefall training revealed Sarah's exceptional spatial awareness and body control. While other students struggled with maintaining stable positions during high-speed descent, Sarah's naturally low center of gravity made her one of the most stable skydivers the instructors had ever observed. Her accuracy in hitting designated landing zones was phenomenal, and her ability to modify approach angles during descent was sophisticated beyond typical training standards. High-altitude operations became one of Sarah's specialties. The combination of her adapted physiology and exceptional training made her ideal for missions requiring precise insertion into hostile territory. Her compact profile during descent made her difficult to detect, and her landing capabilities allowed for insertion into areas that would be challenging for traditional operators. Advanced weapons training showcased the full extent of Sarah's capabilities. Beyond basic marksmanship, she mastered specialized weapon systems, explosives handling, and advanced tactical applications. Her steady positioning made her exceptional with sniper rifles, achieving accuracy standards that placed her among the top marksmen in the entire special operations community. Close-quarters battle training revealed the devastating effectiveness of Sarah's adapted combat techniques. Her wheelchair-based fighting style was unlike anything instructors had encountered, combining mobility, striking power, and defensive positioning in ways that challenged conventional combat wisdom. She could engage multiple opponents simultaneously, while maintaining tactical advantages that standing fighters couldn't achieve. The psychological impact of Sarah's combat style was significant. Opponents expecting a vulnerable target instead faced a warrior whose capabilities exceeded their understanding. Her techniques were so effective that they were studied and adapted by other special operations units, contributing to tactical innovations that benefited the entire military community. Language training and cultural preparation revealed Sarah's intellectual capabilities. She mastered Arabic, Pashto, and Spanish with remarkable speed, demonstrating the same dedication to mental excellence that characterized her physical training. Her understanding of cultural nuances and social dynamics made her valuable for missions requiring sophisticated intelligence gathering or local population interaction. Leadership training identified Sarah as an exceptional tactical commander. Her ability to assess complex situations rapidly, make sound decisions under pressure, and inspire confidence in teammates marked her for advanced responsibilities. Fellow trainees naturally looked to her for guidance during challenging exercises, recognizing leadership qualities that transcended any physical considerations. Medical training became another area of specialization. Sarah's personal experience with injury and recovery, combined with years of working with disabled veterans, gave her medical skills that were exceptional even by SEAL standards. She could provide emergency care in situations that would challenge experienced medics, and her understanding of trauma treatment was sophisticated and practical. The final phase of training involved complex operational scenarios that tested every skill simultaneously. Students were required to plan and execute missions involving multiple objectives, changing conditions, and maximum stress. Sarah's performance during these exercises was consistently outstanding, demonstrating tactical thinking and operational effectiveness that impressed senior commanders. One particular exercise became legendary within the training community. Students were required to infiltrate a simulated enemy compound, gather intelligence, neutralize specific targets, and extract without detection. Sarah's approach was so innovative and effective that it was immediately incorporated into training protocols for future classes. Using her wheelchair as a deception tool, Sarah gained access to the compound by posing as a civilian visitor. Once inside, she systematically neutralized guards using silent techniques that left no evidence of her presence. Her intelligence gathering was thorough and accurate, and her extraction was accomplished without any enemy awareness of compromise. The entire exercise was completed in half the time typically required, with results that exceeded all mission objectives. Upon completion of all training phases, Sarah Martinez graduated with honors as a fully qualified Navy SEAL. Her performance throughout training had been exceptional by any standard, establishing new benchmarks for tactical innovation and operational effectiveness. She was awarded specialized qualifications in underwater operations, high-altitude insertion, advanced marksmanship, and tactical medicine. The assignment process revealed the full extent of military recognition of Sarah's capabilities. Rather than being assigned to a conventional SEAL team, she was recruited for a highly classified unit specializing in unconventional operations. These were missions that required capabilities beyond traditional special operations parameters, situations where thinking outside conventional boundaries could mean the difference between success and failure. Team 7 was composed of operators with exceptional and unique qualifications. Sarah's teammates included experts in psychological operations, advanced technology applications, and specialized warfare techniques. The unit's mission parameters were classified at the highest levels, involving operations that required absolute secrecy and exceptional capability. Training with Team 7 involved scenarios that pushed the boundaries of special operations doctrine. Sarah participated in exercises that combined her conventional SEAL training with specialized techniques designed for their unique mission requirements. The integration was seamless, with her teammates quickly recognizing that her different approach often provided tactical advantages that conventional methods couldn't achieve. The first operational deployment came 18 months after graduation. Team 7 was assigned to a classified mission in a hostile environment where conventional approaches had failed repeatedly. Sarah's role was specifically designed to take advantage of her unique capabilities, requiring skills that only someone with her background and training could provide. Preparation for deployment involved months of additional specialized training, cultural briefings, and mission-specific skill development. Sarah's dedication during this preparation period was absolute, recognizing that operational success would depend on perfect execution of extremely challenging objectives. When Team 7 deployed, Sarah Martinez was no longer a woman in a wheelchair who had somehow become a SEAL. She was a warrior among warriors, an elite operator whose capabilities had been proven through the most rigorous training in the world. Her teammates trusted her implicitly. Commanders relied on her exceptional skills, and the military recognized her as one of their most valuable assets. The transition from training to operational reality would test everything Sarah had learned and prove whether her years of preparation had truly prepared her for the challenges of real-world special operations. But she was ready, confident in her abilities and supported by teammates who understood that excellence came in many different forms. 3 years of operational deployments had transformed Sarah Martinez from an exceptional trainee into a legendary operator within the classified special operations community. Team 7 had completed 17 missions with perfect success rates, and Sarah's contributions had been critical to every operation. Her reputation within the community was that of an operator whose capabilities exceeded conventional understanding, someone who could accomplish objectives that seemed impossible for traditional approaches. The mission that would change everything came through channels so classified that only a handful of people in the entire military knew the complete details. Intelligence agencies had been tracking a human trafficking network that operated with sophisticated security measures specifically designed to defeat conventional law enforcement and military approaches. The organization used disabled individuals as both victims and unwitting shields, calculating that authorities would be reluctant to take aggressive action in environments filled with vulnerable people. The network's leadership had established operations in major cities across multiple continents, using legitimate medical and social service facilities as fronts for their criminal activities. Their security measures included advanced surveillance systems, trained personnel, and most critically, positioning that made traditional rescue operations extremely dangerous for the victims they claimed to protect. Sarah's mission briefing revealed the full scope of the challenge. Intelligence indicated that over 200 victims were being held in facilities across 6 countries, with the primary command center located in a converted medical complex in Eastern Europe. Previous attempts to infiltrate the organization had failed because conventional operators couldn't maintain cover in environments specifically designed for disabled individuals. The mission parameters were unlike anything Sarah had previously encountered. She would need to infiltrate the organization as a potential victim, gather intelligence about the complete network structure, identify victim locations, and coordinate extraction operations while maintaining perfect cover. The operation would require months of deep cover work, with no backup or communication with her team until specific mission phases were completed. Preparation for the mission began with creating an entirely new identity. Sarah became Maria Santos, a recent accident victim from Spain who was seeking specialized medical care and social support. The cover story was meticulously crafted, complete with medical records, personal history, and documentation that would withstand sophisticated scrutiny. She spent weeks learning to appear more vulnerable than she actually was, suppressing the confident bearing that marked her as a professional warrior. The psychological preparation was particularly challenging. Sarah had spent her entire adult life developing strength, confidence, and tactical awareness. Now she needed to project vulnerability and dependency while maintaining the mental acuity necessary for intelligence gathering and operational planning. She worked with specialized psychologists to develop techniques for compartmentalizing her warrior identity while presenting the personality profile that would gain access to the target organization. Physical preparation involved modifying her exceptional capabilities to appear consistent with her cover identity. Her obviously superior physical condition needed to be hidden beneath clothing and behavior that suggested recent trauma and ongoing limitations. She learned to move differently, speak with less confidence, and project the emotional fragility that would make her appear to be an ideal target for the traffickers' operations. Language training for this mission was more intensive than her previous preparations. She needed to speak Spanish with specific regional dialects, understand multiple other languages at conversational levels, and recognize the coded communications that the trafficking network used to coordinate their operations. Her linguistic preparation also included learning the specific terminology and behavioral patterns associated with different disability communities. The insertion phase began in Madrid, where Sarah presented herself at a social service organization known to have connections with the trafficking network. Her performance was flawless, projecting exactly the combination of vulnerability and resource potential that made individuals attractive to traffickers. Within days, she was contacted by representatives offering specialized assistance and support services. The initial contact phase was crucial. Sarah needed to appear eager for help while not seeming too sophisticated or aware of potential dangers. She demonstrated the perfect balance of gratitude and naivety that the traffickers expected from their targets. Her background story was accepted without suspicion, and she was quickly integrated into a support network that was actually a recruitment pipeline for the trafficking operation. For 6 weeks, Sarah lived genuinely among victims and potential victims, gathering intelligence while maintaining perfect cover. The information she collected revealed that the trafficking network was far more sophisticated and extensive than intelligence estimates had suggested. They operated legitimate front organizations in over 20 countries, maintained safe houses and operational facilities across multiple continents, and had corrupted officials in government and law enforcement agencies worldwide. The most disturbing discovery was the scope of their victim recruitment. The network specifically targeted individuals with disabilities because they were less likely to be missed by society, more dependent on the support systems that traffickers controlled, and more difficult for traditional law enforcement to locate and extract. The psychological manipulation techniques used by the organization were sophisticated and devastating, designed to create complete dependency and eliminate any hope of escape. Sarah's intelligence gathering revealed critical vulnerabilities in the network's security measures. Their confidence in their chosen victim population had made them careless about certain operational procedures. They assumed that disabled individuals wouldn't possess the capability for resistance or intelligence gathering, making them less vigilant about information security around their victims. The breakthrough came when Sarah was selected for transfer to the primary operational facility. This was the command center where the network's leadership coordinated global operations, and gaining access required demonstrating the exact combination of vulnerability and value that the traffickers sought. Sarah's performance during the selection process was perfect, convincing the traffickers that she possessed resources they wanted while remaining completely dependent on their support. Transport to the command facility involved a complex route designed to prevent victims from understanding their location or developing escape plans. Sarah memorized every detail of the journey while maintaining her cover persona. Her exceptional training allowed her to gather tactical intelligence about security measures, facility layouts, and operational procedures that would be critical for the extraction phase of the mission. The command facility was a converted medical complex that had been modified with sophisticated security measures. The traffickers used the building's original medical equipment and layout to maintain legitimacy while conducting their criminal operations. Victims were housed in areas that appeared to be patient care facilities, making detection by outside authorities extremely difficult. Sarah's integration into the facility provided unprecedented access to the network's operations. She observed daily routines, identified key personnel, mapped security procedures, and catalogued the locations and conditions of dozens of victims. The intelligence she gathered revealed operational details that law enforcement and military agencies had been seeking for years. The most critical discovery was the network's communication systems. Sarah identified how the traffickers coordinated between facilities, managed victim transfers, and communicated with their corruption network in various governments. This information would be essential for coordinating simultaneous operations across multiple countries when the extraction phase began. After 2 months of deep cover operations, Sarah had gathered comprehensive intelligence about the trafficking network structure, operations, and vulnerabilities. She had identified the locations of over 300 victims, mapped the organizational hierarchy, and discovered the financial systems that funded their global operations. The information she collected represented the most complete intelligence package ever assembled about international human trafficking operations. The final phase of Sarah's solo mission involved establishing secure communication with her operational support team and coordinating the extraction phase. This required maintaining perfect cover while accessing communication systems and transmitting classified information without detection. Her technical training and operational skills allowed her to accomplish these tasks while continuing to appear as a victim within the facility. When Sarah finally transmitted her complete intelligence package, the response from command was immediate and decisive. Her information had provided everything necessary for coordinated operations across 6 countries that would simultaneously strike every major facility in the trafficking network. The scope and sophistication of her intelligence gathering had exceeded every expectation and made possible the largest anti-trafficking operation in modern history. But Sarah's mission wasn't complete. She would need to remain in place during the extraction operations, providing real-time intelligence and ensuring victim safety during what would be complex and dangerous rescue missions. Her position within the primary facility made her critical for coordinating operations that would save hundreds of lives while dismantling one of the world's most sophisticated criminal networks. The extraction phase would test every aspect of Sarah's training and operational capabilities. She would need to transition from intelligence gathering to active combat operations while maintaining the safety of vulnerable victims in an environment designed to prevent exactly the kind of operations she was about to coordinate. Success would require perfect execution of the most complex special operations mission of her career. The extraction operations had been a complete success. Over 400 victims were rescued simultaneously across 6 countries, and the entire trafficking network was dismantled in coordinated strikes that eliminated their leadership and seized their assets. Sarah's intelligence had made possible the largest anti-trafficking victory in modern history, but her role in the operation remained classified at the highest levels. 6 months after returning from the mission, Sarah was on administrative leave, officially recovering from her extended deployment, while actually debriefing with intelligence agencies and helping to prosecute the traffickers whose network she had exposed. The psychological adjustment from months of deep cover work to normal life was challenging, requiring careful monitoring and support from military psychologists who specialized in extended covert operations. During this transition period, Sarah lived quietly in a small apartment in San Diego, maintaining the lowest possible profile while processing the experiences of her extended mission. She appeared to be exactly what her neighbors assumed, a young woman adjusting to life in a wheelchair, dependent on disability services and social support systems. No one suspected that the quiet resident in apartment 3B was one of the most dangerous and effective special operations warriors in the world. The evening that would change everything began routinely. Sarah was returning from a medical appointment, wheeling herself through a downtown area that she had traveled countless times without incident. The neighborhood was generally safe, well lit, and regularly patrolled by local police. She had no reason to expect trouble and was focused primarily on the psychological techniques she was using to readjust to normal social interactions. The first indication of trouble came when she noticed 3 men following her at a distance. Her operational training made her immediately aware of the surveillance, but she maintained her civilian persona while assessing the potential threat. The men appeared to be typical street criminals, displaying the behavioral patterns and positioning that suggested they were evaluating her as a potential target for robbery. Sarah's initial assessment was that avoiding confrontation would be the appropriate response. She altered her route toward a more populated area, maintaining awareness of the followers while projecting the vulnerability that would hopefully make them reconsider their apparent intentions. Her primary concern was maintaining her civilian cover, as any demonstration of her actual capabilities could compromise her security clearance and future operational assignments. But the men interpreted her defensive movements as confirmation of vulnerability rather than tactical awareness. They increased their pace and began positioning themselves to intercept her route, displaying the confidence of predators who believed they had identified easy prey. Their behavior became increasingly aggressive, and Sarah realized that avoidance might not be possible. The confrontation began when the largest of the 3 men stepped directly into Sarah's path, blocking her progress while his companions moved to flank her position. His opening words revealed their intentions immediately. They demanded money and valuables, using crude language and threats designed to intimidate their intended victim into immediate compliance. Sarah's response was perfect for her cover identity. She appeared frightened and confused, fumbling for her purse while projecting the helplessness that the criminals expected. Her performance was so convincing that the men became more aggressive, encouraged by her apparent vulnerability and compliance with their demands. The situation escalated rapidly when the leader grew impatient with the speed of Sarah's compliance. He grabbed the handles of her wheelchair and shoved her backward, causing her to appear to lose balance and control. His companions laughed at her apparent helplessness, and their behavior became increasingly cruel and threatening. What the criminals didn't understand was that their actions had just crossed a line that transformed the situation from a robbery into something far more serious. When the leader placed his hands on Sarah's wheelchair, he had initiated physical assault on a federal officer engaged in classified operations. Every aspect of Sarah's training, experience, and protective instincts was now engaged, even though she continued to project vulnerability while assessing her tactical options. The critical moment came when one of the men suggested that they take more than just Sarah's money. Their conversation revealed intentions that went far beyond simple robbery, discussing possibilities that made immediate defensive action not just justified, but necessary. Sarah's tactical assessment concluded that the situation had become genuinely dangerous and that civilian law enforcement response would not be sufficient or timely. Sarah's transition from apparent victim to active defender was instantaneous and devastating. The first indication the criminals had of their mistake came when she transferred from her wheelchair to the ground with fluid precision that revealed exceptional upper body strength and control. Her movement was so smooth and purposeful that all 3 men were caught completely off guard. The first attacker was neutralized before he fully understood what was happening. Sarah's training in close-quarters combat was designed for situations exactly like this, and her techniques were optimized for her unique physical capabilities. Her striking power was devastating, her positioning was tactically superior, and her speed of engagement exceeded anything the criminals had ever encountered. The second attacker attempted to flee when he realized that their intended victim was not what she appeared to be. Sarah's pursuit was relentless and efficient, using her exceptional upper body mobility to cover ground faster than running opponents expected. She neutralized him with techniques that were precise, effective, and specifically designed to minimize permanent injury while ensuring immediate incapacitation. The third criminal tried to use Sarah's wheelchair as a weapon against her, apparently believing that her mobility device represented a vulnerability he could exploit. His attempt demonstrated complete misunderstanding of both Sarah's capabilities and the tactical applications of her equipment. She transformed his attack into an opportunity, using his momentum and positioning against him with techniques that were both devastating and elegant. The entire confrontation lasted less than 90 seconds. 3 criminals who had approached what they believed was a vulnerable target were left unconscious or incapacitated, while Sarah appeared completely uninjured and in control of the situation. Her breathing was steady, her positioning was tactical, and her demeanor was that of a professional who had just completed a routine exercise. The aftermath required careful management to protect Sarah's operational security. Local police response needed to be handled in ways that wouldn't reveal her actual identity or capabilities, while ensuring that the criminals faced appropriate charges for their actions. Sarah's cover story needed to be maintained, while explaining how someone in a wheelchair had successfully defended herself against 3 attackers. Sarah's official statement to police described the confrontation as a case of attempted robbery, where the criminals had been startled by her unexpected resistance and had injured themselves while attempting to flee. Her explanation was plausible and consistent with the evidence, while avoiding any details that would reveal her actual training or capabilities. The investigating officers were impressed by Sarah's composure and resilience in the face of what appeared to be a traumatic experience. They praised her courage in resisting the attackers and noted that her quick thinking had prevented a potentially much more serious crime. Their report characterized the incident as an attempted robbery that had been thwarted by an unusually brave and resourceful victim. Media coverage of the incident focused on the inspiring story of a disabled woman who had refused to be victimized by street criminals. The narrative emphasized Sarah's courage and determination, while presenting her as an example of how individuals with disabilities could protect themselves through awareness and preparation. No one suspected that they were actually reporting on one of the most highly trained special operations warriors in the world. For Sarah, the incident represented a successful test of her ability to maintain operational security while responding to genuine threats. She had protected herself and potentially other future victims while preserving the classified nature of her actual identity and capabilities. The confrontation had been handled with the professionalism and effectiveness that characterized all of her operations. The criminals, when they recovered sufficiently to be questioned, provided confused and contradictory accounts of what had happened. Their descriptions of being defeated by someone they had initially seen as helpless were dismissed by investigators as attempts to minimize their embarrassment at being overpowered by their intended victim. Within the special operations community, word of the incident spread quickly through unofficial channels. Sarah's teammates and commanders understood exactly what had occurred and recognized it as another example of her exceptional capabilities and professional discipline. The incident became part of her operational legend, demonstrating that her skills were effective in any environment and against any threat. For the public, Sarah Martinez remained what she appeared to be, a remarkably brave young woman who had refused to be victimized by criminals. But within the classified world of special operations, she was recognized as something far more significant. A warrior whose capabilities transcended conventional understanding and whose dedication to service continued even during off-duty encounters with those who would prey on the vulnerable. The incident served as a perfect example of why Sarah's unique combination of skills and background made her one of the most valuable operators in the special operations community. She could function effectively in any environment, respond to unexpected threats with professional competence, and maintain operational security even under challenging circumstances. Sarah Martinez had proven once again that true strength often came disguised as vulnerability, that assumptions about capability were frequently wrong, and that those who chose to prey on others sometimes encountered forces they could never have imagined. The 3 criminals had learned the hard way that appearances could be devastatingly deceptive when they chose the wrong target for their criminal ambitions.